as someone who could be described as a self-motivated human being, I myself run out of motivation. I can lose motivation. I actually lose motivation quite often, even though maybe some may say I don't, but I actually do. But what keeps me going is my consistency.
Hi Giselle, what's today's topic will be?
Today's topic, we're going to talk about the difference between motivation and consistency. So basically, motivation versus consistency.
What is the difference between motivation and consistency?
Uh, Honestly, they're two very different things. Motivation and consistency. When you think about motivation, motivation is a feeling. It's an emotion. I feel motivated. It's something that it's like gas, right, to a car. Gas. You put gas in a car, the car will go and drive until it got no more gas, meaning no more motivation. So motivation is that emotion, and then consistency is an action. To be consistent is to take action to do something, regardless of anything else. Just continuing. So that's the difference between both.
Will you agree, if I say motivation, just like you say, is a gas to move the car, meaning when the car is out of gas, it's no more moving.
Mm-hmm.
And will you agree that consistency is more like a habit, just like the habit of brushing your teeth every morning? You don't need motivation to do that.
Exactly.
It is muscle memory per se.
Exactly. I agree. So consistency would be that exactly. It's an action. It's a muscle memory. It's a habit. It's a routine.
Which one do you think is more important and why?
Well, like what we were saying, that even when you don't have the motivation to brush your teeth, you still do it. So I think, in my opinion, consistency is way more important than motivation. And the reason why is because when I think of consistency, I think of that drive to continue and maintaining that discipline to keep going no matter what, even if you don't have motivation. Because as someone who could be described as a self-motivated human being, I myself run out of motivation. I can lose motivation. I actually lose motivation quite often, even though maybe some may say I don't, but I actually do. But what keeps me going is my consistency, my drive, and that's also another difference. That consistency is different from drive, and motivation is different from drive. But they all work they all work together. So consistency would be more important because even when you feel like you're running low, even when you don't have that desire, you still keep going no matter what. And that's why I would consider it more important. I'm not saying it's less valuable than motivation. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it would be definitely more important to get you to where you want to be.
I see that happens because, like you say, even if you're a self-motivated person, you can run out. And when you depend only on motivation, the day that you don't have it, I mean, there's no work getting done. There's not going to the gym. There's no action getting done. And more when if you're not a self-motivated person, that means you have to rely on either somebody else or a specific thing in order for you to get that motivation. And as society is, you can never rely too much on something besides yourself, because even sometimes we rely on technology. Technology can crash. Even a person you rely on, if they're not feeling it or something impede them from, give you that motivation or just come to make your company, that will affect the outcome of either your business or either your goals for the gym or anything that you have in mind to do.
That's 100% true. Because I honestly agree with that, that everything runs out. Everything will eventually run out, no matter how automatic it is. Even when, let's talk about Tesla cars. Even Teslas, they're automatic, right? They don't run on gas, but they run on a battery. And if you don't charge that battery, the Tesla will eventually die on you. So everything is like that in terms of motivation. Eventually it will run out. Something that you will need to recharge, right? Motivation is something I need to plug that thing back on so that you can recharge your motivation. But consistency is something that you wouldn't need to recharge. It's an actionable decision for you to constantly do no matter what.
Would you have any advice on, for example, if I'm a self-motivated person, obviously, like you say, that can run out. Do you have any advice on how to not switch, but trying to rely on consistency or develop consistency to not only rely on my self-motivation?
Yes. Okay. So I honestly no matter what, I like to have accountability. Hold myself accountable and have accountability groups or partners or people, community that can hold me accountable to the things that I want to achieve. So having those people, having the people surrounding you that can check up on you and say, hey, did you get this done? Or how are you doing with this? How is this going? Or even checking up on your motivation. Someone that can come and check up on you. How are you, like, why are things, going the way they're, you feel like you're not, you look down, you look sad, whatever it is, they come and recharge me. They check up on me, they listen to me, whatever that is bothering me, they give me their opinion, their advice. That's a way to develop that consistency when you know there is someone that's going to be asking you questions. Number 2, I'm a to-do list person. If I have a to-do list, if it's not on the to-do list, I'm not getting it done. So I rely a lot on a list of things, and it feels so good when you check that box or when you cross that thing out. Like, okay, I got this one done. I got this one done. And it gives me the ability to be more organized with the things that I accomplish. Even if it's to take a break, I put it on my to-do list. Take a 30-minute break. Okay, now here, do this. Like, okay, here, take a nap. It's not about just constant work, because you can be productive with self-care. So when we talk about consistency is not just to burn yourself out. Consistency is about you making sure that you continue to take the actionable steps so that no matter what, you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. So that being said, you're going to take the decisions and you're going to make the decisions so that you can balance what you need to do within you so that you can make it in a healthy way, right? Not in a toxic way where you're just burning yourself out constantly. So that's something that I say, having accountability, and number 2, relying on a to-do list on something that you can check off, and making sure that you balance the self-care with the hard work and the constant, things that you have to do in order to get work done.
I agree with that. Another thing too that I see, obviously, when we develop something new, we constantly put pressure on ourselves, and we think that we have to run. And to develop consistency, I think that it's very important to start small, and like as you get comfortable with the small step that you took, just like, let me increase this step up a little, and as you keep getting comfortable, you just keep increasing it into the time that obviously it's just gonna, like you said, you're gonna be fully running. And the more important thing is when it becomes muscle memory, now you don't even have to tell yourself to do it. Now you don't even have to do the list, because it's just like your body gonna ask you for it.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing about consistency too.
And I like that you mentioned that about small steps, because consistency can also become a bad thing when you're being consistent on things that are not gonna benefit you. So also understanding that consistency is the big umbrella, but under that comes a lot of other factors so that you can make sure to have a healthy lifestyle and you can maintain a healthy boundaries within your humanity, your well-being, your wellness. So when I think about consistency as well, I think about making conscious choices of either unlearning, relearning, changing, and adjusting things that can benefit you and get you closer to your purposeful being, to the things that you believe is your purpose. So I agree with that. Small steps, small adjustments, and having that patience.
And that's a great point, because if you constantly keep making the same choices, even if you're consistent, you're never gonna get a different result. And if you're making the wrong choice and you're not getting the result that you want, it's like I say, you need to tweak it. Like, let me do it differently. And when you see that works in your favor, and like you say, is good for you, that's when you're like, oh, let me keep this habit and like make it consistent into, obviously you develop that muscle memory, and you no longer have to keep track of it because your body is already going to do it by itself.
For something that I would like to talk about is like some of the things that I used to do, or maybe I'm still unlearning that and adjusting that. I'm the type of person that, yes, I can lose motivation, but I'm pretty proud of my consistency. But the more I make conscious decisions to be more aware of the things I've done and the things I still do, the more I realize is that some of the things I was consistent on were not good for me. And one of those things was me being a workaholic. I overworked myself. I did a million things at once. I was part of a million things at once. And I realized that my consistency was actually was taking part on one of my coping mechanisms to avoid my traumas. And that was something that made me realize, like, oh, here you're proud of yourself because you're constantly working, but in reality you're just burning and you just digging a hole for you because you're like running away from things that can actually better you. So I was not being still. I couldn't be still. I couldn't calm down. I couldn't have a time to just pause and rest. I just wanted to keep going, and it was because I was so afraid of everything else that I've been just, bottling up would surface up. But then I realized that if I was more consistent to be intentional about my healing journey, I would be able to find better ways and better avenues on how to be consistent to become the woman that I know I'm meant to be. So I also want to say that sometimes don't think consistency can be so great when you're doing it in a way that's not helping you really realize that you are not, getting closer to that person that you want to be or wherever you want to be.
What would be your advice for the people that don't have the patience when they start to develop consistency? Because we all want result right away, and we know that that's not true and it's never gonna happen. And whatever give you quick result is not gonna be as good as something that takes time. What would be your advice for those people?
Oh my God. I was honestly one of those people. I wanted instant results, instant gratification. And the reason to that is because, unfortunately, the world and the era that we live on now, we want everything fast. If you're hungry, you can get instant food. If you're this, you can get instant. Everything is just quick now. So you become a brat. You become somebody that just don't know how to have that discipline. So that's what helped me, becoming disciplined and knowing that good things take time. Good things it takes a process to develop. It's like now, as an as someone that went to school for computer science, when I think about the development of a new technology or even a software or an app, it takes time. It's just not something that you just develop and that tomorrow you just put it into production. In fact, the development process for an application can take years. If you're doing it, not so many resources, if it's just you by yourself or just a couple of more people. Number two, the testing. You have to test the application that it works. You have to do all the trials and errors. After that, there is another step, which is to, not only test it, but you have to then try it in terms of like putting it into production, but not the full production where you put it out in public. So what I'm saying is understanding that you need to have that discipline, that everything takes time. Everything is a process, and you're not going to just go from crawling to flying from one day to the next. And just having that grace. Be graceful. Don't be so hard on yourself. I am that person. I am so hard on myself. And you can even see it in some of the people that are close to me, that are, when I want them to be better, and I can know that they can be better and they can achieve their things, I can become really hard on them. And I can become a little bit aggressive in the sense of how much I'm pushing them, that it becomes unhealthy. So it's important to get constant feedback and have that community, and being able to be graceful for yourself and having that patience and knowing that I need to pause, I need to breathe. It's just not going to happen like this. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. What is the impact behind motivation and consistency working together?
No, listen. When you put motivation and consistency together, you're unstoppable. That means that the sky is not even the limit. You can go above and beyond that. When you're motivated and you are consistent, you can do anything and everything that you desire. And when you put that out there into the universe, you're going to see how you're going to continue to plant those seeds, and you're going to continue to harvest and develop and create and become. And not only you do that, but the people that are in your surroundings, you're going to see how the way that you're planting these seeds are also being able to harvest other people's ground. You're going to motivate people to want better and do more. So that's what happens when you're motivated and consistent, that you will be unstoppable. You will see that everything that you truly desire is achievable. You will not let fear, you will not let doubt, you will not let challenges stop you. You're going to continue that motivation and that desire and that pump, to keep going, to, drive that car until it dies, you know what I'm saying? Until it's time to recharge. So that's what I think.
It's a wrap.